I never imagined that something as harmless as a plate of cookies could spiral into a confrontation that felt more like a courtroom drama than a neighborhood disagreement. But that's exactly what happened the Christmas my HOA fined me for leaving cookies out for Santa. I've lived in Maple Grove Estates for over 2 decades, long enough to know which houses creak in winter, which neighbors wave back, and which ones peek through blinds. I paid my dues, followed the rules, kept my lawn trimmed, and believed that if you minded your business, the HOA would mind theirs. That belief slowly eroded, but it finally shattered the year my grandchildren came to visit for Christmas. Like I had done for years when my own kids were small, I continued the tradition. On Christmas Eve, my granddaughter carefully arranged a small plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies and a glass of milk on a red tray near the front door. She whispered a note to Santa, smiling like magic was still real. That moment mattered to me more than I realized at the time. We went to bed happy. The house was quiet, full of that warm holiday stillness. Christmas morning arrived with laughter, wrapping paper, and coffee. Everything felt right. Then I checked the mail. The envelope stood out immediately. HOA letterhead, bold print, official tone. Notice of violation. According to the letter, I owed $150 for unauthorized placement of food items in a common visibility area, citing concerns about wildlife attraction and neighborhood appearance. I read it twice, then a third time, convinced I had misunderstood. Wildlife, on Christmas Eve, for Santa's cookies. At first, I laughed. Then I felt something colder. This wasn't a mistake. This was deliberate. When I called the HOA office, the woman on the line sounded bored, as if she'd said the same thing 100 times that day. The fine was valid. No exceptions. Rules were rules. The HOA president, Randall, had changed everything since taking over. He treated bylaws like weapons. People were fined for trash cans left out too long, flags hung incorrectly, grass measured with alarming precision. Most residents paid quietly. They didn't want trouble. Many were retirees, fixed incomes. Fear did the rest. I decided I wouldn't pay. I requested a hearing. The meeting room was dull and fluorescent lit, the kind of place where joy goes to die. Randall sat at the head of the table, composed and cold. When it was my turn to speak, I explained the tradition, the timing, the harmlessness of it all. I spoke calmly, respectfully. He didn't budge. Personal sentiment does not override bylaws, he said. That sentence burned. They upheld the fine. But I didn't walk away defeated. I walked away determined. I read every line of the HOA bylaws, cover to cover, late nights, highlighter in hand, and buried deep in legal language was a clause allowing temporary seasonal displays under 24 hours that posed no hazard. Cookies qualified. I gathered evidence, doorbell camera footage, photos, neighbor statements, and then I talked to people. I learned I wasn't alone. A widow fined for wreath lights, a veteran cited for a visible folded flag, families silenced by fear. I filed a formal appeal. The next meeting was different. The room was full. Residents spoke up. Stories poured out. The pressure mounted. The board retreated to deliberate. When they returned, the fine was rescinded unanimously. 2 months later, Randall resigned. New leadership followed. Policies changed. Excessive fines stopped. That Christmas, cookies appeared all over the neighborhood. Sometimes standing up starts with something small, and sometimes that small thing is worth everything.